Hotcha, it's Jess with Emotional Fire Academy here today to tell you about instant emotional mastery, which we're going to do today. And I'm going to guide you through the awarenesses and the processes that you need to be able to do that. So subscribe to my channel if you are a highly sensitive person who is ready to escape the torture of negative emotions and really up-level your life and take control of your inner experience. Because that's what we do on this channel. This is Emotional Fire Academy. Welcome, I am Jess. I am your driver operator on this journey. I'm a former firefighter and a master NLP practitioner. So it's my job to mess with your head and teach you about fire too. So anyway, and emotion, fire and emotion. Anyway, that's today's subject. We're actually going to talk about this, and I'm going to kind of explain the big secret and why I'm called Emotional Fire Academy as a channel. So yeah, all right, let's jump right in. Let me ground myself, center myself. So what does instant emotional mastery look like? So when we are trying to get to a different place in consciousness, right, in our inner experience, it's always good to have what I call the target consciousness, like somewhere in your mental map where you can then go and be like, oh, I'm here. This is what it feels like, right? So, and we do that by kind of stepping into it. We can literally just go there instantly. Just if I told you to, go to your bed. If you're not at your bed, if you're not in bed right now, you're instantly in your mind, you're going to go to your bed and feel what it feels like to be in your bed, and in your mind's eye, you're in your bed. So this works for states of consciousness too, for, your target, your goal consciousness where you want to permanently reside or reside most of the time. It's the same, kind of the same thing. We can go there in the snap of the fingers with just a little bit of priming. So, which I love about the mind and the brain and consciousness. So what is this? What does mastery look like to you? What does it feel like to you? To me, I always envisioned like a monk, like a Buddhist monk sitting there like, and it feels, you can conjure up whatever character, emotional mastery, who would be practicing emotional mastery. And then what is that person feeling? Then step into that person, that character, that persona, step into them and imagine what it feels like. Close your eyes if you want, if you're in a safe place. So what does that feel like? Emotional mastery feels like, to me, stillness, peace, total acceptance. Just like this quiet and this presence that's very grounded and not being flustered. Just kind of observing and choosing then which emotions we want to express, from a place of awareness and knowingness and groundedness. Kind of a ceasefire, it's really, this is a place of love. So this is the big secret. Love is this. When you think about love and total acceptance, this stillness, this peace, this groundedness, not needing to move forward or backward toward the emotion or away from the emotion, right? Just totally holding your center. That's kind of what emotional mastery felt like to me. When I was working towards it, that was kind of like, okay, I want to be there most of the time. Now that you've kind of had, you can open your eyes again, now that you've kind of had an experience with this, and we know, like, oh, I just went there. I just went to a place of emotional mastery. And feel free to tailor this to your own personal experience. Do this after the video and find that place. Enter the target consciousness, because you can enter it instantly. Find it, feel it out, and be like, this is what it feels like. This is my goal. This is my goal. This is where I'm going to go. And I plan to go. Because emotion itself is a program. Emotion is, if you've watched any of my other videos, I'm starting to use the terminology program. When we run programs or a story, emotion is in itself a story. It's a program. It's something we learned that we picked up along the way, right? We learned how to be angry. We learned how to be sad by watching people who were angry and sad and thinking to ourselves, oh, that's what angry and sad looks like. And then we run that program a lot of the times in order to accomplish a goal. It's like, oh, if I get angry and have a tantrum, I'll get my way. If I feel sad and I express sadness and I'm really sad, I will get sympathy and love from other people around me. And when we realize it's, oh, holy crap, this is just a program, just like anything else I'm running. Emotion is a program. And if you play the why game with yourself, like you're like, why am I upset? Why am I angry right now? And you keep going, why? Just like a 4-year-old, will ask you, why is the sky blue? But why? But why? And you ask yourself those questions, you're going to get to, because this is what I want. Because I want something. At the base of it, there's like a desire. There's a desire there. So it tells you that you want to achieve something. And this was beautifully illustrated in the book. I can't recommend this book enough. Talk about mind-blowing stuff. How Emotions Are Made by Lisa Feldman Barrett. This is an excellent book. This will literally, you will never see emotion the same way again once you read this book. I guarantee it. I guarantee you. Because that's what happened to me. So this platform of stillness that we wanted, this target consciousness of emotional mastery, we know what it looks like, we know what it feels like. We've already gone into it today. We just went there. We already did it. The only thing, so we're moving on to your willingness. You might say, well, yeah, but how do I, we're going to talk about objections at the end, but how, it's great that I just went there, but, how do I go there when I'm upset, when I'm in anger? Remember that when you're running a program can be interrupted. And this is the proof you have that it is a program and not a thing that you are. Okay, so this is where we create the subconscious or the consciousness gap in recognizing it's a program instead of just automatically embodying the emotion. Again, say you're in the midst of an emotion and then something happens that interrupts your program. Somebody rings the doorbell and then suddenly you're sweet as pie again. It's like you were having, literally 5 seconds ago, you were crying and pinching a fit, and now somebody is at the door. Maybe it's somebody you haven't seen in a really long time. Oh my God, how are you? Switch. There you go. You just started running a different program because 3D presented you with, it's not appropriate to run that program. Time to run this other one. So when you start to realize that you're not a victim of your emotion, that it's a program that you learned that you're running in order to get something accomplished, you can start to then create that gap that you need, that gap where you're like, I can observe this. And I've talked in other videos about observing with the prefrontal cortex, observing the parts of the brain that are engaging in that program instead, and just kind of watching them do their thing. Not judging, just kind of watching. And that's, in that gap, that's instant emotional mastery. That's where you are the master. You are the master of the program. And instead of being lost in the program, embodying the program, thinking the program is you, assuming the program is you. And this is where fire comes in. All right, are you ready for some juicy analogies? I am. So, and this book, this is kind of how I came up. When I read this book about a year ago, I realized, I was like, the biggest light bulb that went off for me is emotion isn't real. It's an illusion. It was like, I had felt victimized by emotion my entire life. And to find out it wasn't real, holy crap. And I was thinking about it and I was like, what? There was something familiar in my consciousness that I was like, there's an analogy to this. And I realized it was a fire. Because I was a firefighter, I'd been a firefighter for so long. And fire is kind of the same thing. It's not real. Now, what do I mean by this? Let's unpack it. When you look at fire, you're not seeing a thing, you're watching a process, right? And when you know that, that's when you can like put your finger through a candle flame You know, it's just like, oh, this is a process. If I know how to manipulate the process, I can interact differently with the fire. Early humans had the same experience in their own evolution with fire, right? Initially, fire was this terrifying thing that would burn through the forest, and they probably ran from it and feared it, and it seemed like its own entity. You know, it had edges and it produced light and sound, and it was scary. Kind of like with emotion. It produces body sensations. It's terrifying. It rolls through our body, and we're like, oh my God, I'm afraid, or I'm sad, or I'm whatever I'm feeling. You know, we embody it just like early humans embody the fire. And then came that stillness period where at some point, there was a consciousness shift in early humans where they're like, oh, we can actually make fire, right? And then they would sit in front of that fire in this stillness and just watch it and knowing that the fire wasn't going to consume them. And so this with our emotion is the same thing. When we sit in that stillness, that place that we just went, that stillness of observation, just like you're sitting and staring at a campfire, you are not moving towards or away from the fire. You know that the fire isn't going to hurt you unless you stick your hand in the process, right? Unless you become part of the process. And you're just allowing it to be. You're allowing it to be. You're just watching it like you would watch a campfire. Same thing with our emotions. We can do the same thing. And that's where we just went. That's the beginning, the very, very first step of emotional mastery. And so then, as with fire, once, they had changed their relation to it, they could watch it and observe it and not be afraid of it and know how it worked, how the process worked. Then that's when the really advanced stuff happened. That's when fire became a tool for growth, for the prosperity of civilization. We started to forge. We started to do things with really amazing things with it. Fire power. It became then a source of power and inspiration to do incredible things that have taken humanity to places we could have never expected. So let's move back to emotion. So then once you start practicing this stillness, being in this stillness, this emotional mastery, you then can go to really advanced places with emotion. That creates the gap in your consciousness where then your brain begins to understand emotion on the same level as those early humans were with fire. You're just like, wow, what are all the cool things I can do with this? That's where you start to go, and you start to have these realizations and inspirations of like, what if I tried this? And then you can create states within yourself, states of sheer joy, sheer bliss. You kind of start to get high on your own ability to create, to self-manufacture emotion. That's kind of what I'm experiencing now as I've gone on this journey. It's like, whoa, there's so much that can then come of that. So this is kind of how it will progress for you. And the only thing you need to do is your willingness to go to that place of just being able to sit and watch your emotion like a campfire. That is really where mastery, that's the heart of mastery, is that stillness and peace. And because when we learn something, when we're learning, we don't know what we don't know, right? If you've ever studied the stages of knowledge, of learning, it's unconscious, there's this unconsciousness where you don't know what you don't know. And then when it crosses that threshold into knowingness, where you're at least aware, and the awareness is what we have achieved today. That awareness, we've crossed that knowledge from, I am not my emotions. I can actually sit in a place of stillness with them. We've crossed into that conscious knowing of the information. And then from there, that's where we do all the fun things of learning, like where it then becomes, we can, then continue to transmute it into body awareness, and then really like being like, how far can I take this? What can I do with fire? What can I do with emotion? How far can I take this? What can I do? What amazing things can I create within myself, within my inner experience that I am now master of? So, any other objections? Let me cover two. Some things that popped up for me when I was brainstorming for this video. I can't. How would I be able to do this if I was actually angry? Again, the example of if your pattern is interrupted, and knowing that like, so you interrupt the pattern for yourself. You have that, it's kind of like a Petrushka doll, like that inner awareness of like, when you sense like, oh, I'm in the emotion, and then you'll slip into this even deeper level of awareness of like, oh, wait, I could go to my place of stillness instead. I'll go to my place of stillness instead. You're going to start to have this then falling down into this like, oh, I can go to this place instead. And it'll start to happen faster and faster. And if you say like, well, it's going to take a lot of work. It's just taking the awareness, just your willingness to go to that place, your willingness to step back from the emotion, to step out of the fire and just step back and watch it instead. That's all that it takes, is your willingness. You just have to be willing to keep going to that place. And that's all. We don't have to create, I used to create the story of like, oh, but it's going to be so hard to change my habits and to try and do this. That story is preventing you from, that's a sign of, resisting being willing. You can drop the story and just be like, okay, I'm willing to try. I'm willing to just keep going to this place. And in that willingness, that's all it takes. Just being willing to go there. You just have to be willing to go there. That's all. Some other objections. One time doesn't make me a master. Is that true? Is that true? Again, if you're totally willing, that's all it takes. If you're totally willing to do that, that's all it takes to be a master. Because a master is willing to keep going to a place of mastery, right? A master, in their awareness, becomes unwilling to return to the state from whence they came. Right? So mastery is just a willingness to keep going back to that place. And you can start right now. You already did it today. So, and another objection, it can't be this simple. It can't be this simple. Why not? Why can't it be this simple? It is this simple. I'm telling you from the other end, it's this simple. This is all it takes. This awareness, and you already have it. So you're already a master. You have the awareness. You've brought this knowledge into conscious awareness. And now this is the fun part. This is the fun part of mastery and seeing where you want to take it. Playing with fire, playing with emotion, and reaching new levels within your inner experience so that you can feel more joy, more passion, more happiness, more of the things that you want to be feeling, and know exactly how to deal with the things that you don't. So comment below. Let me know, now that you're a new master, an emotional master, let me know what you thought of this video. If this helped you, if you have any other questions, drop a comment below. And if you are ready to become an even bigger emotional master and finally eliminate all those other programs that you've been running that are keeping you from perceiving yourself as an emotional master, reach out to me at emotionalfireacademy.com. I'm having a 30% off sale on my one-on-one coaching right now until the end of November. So go ahead and grab a free consult on my website before they're gone. Those are going to be going away shortly. So thank you for watching. Bye.